All right, we are live for the 85th episode of the
Let's go podcast. We are back and we are excited and ready to roll as the HSL spring season coming to the most exciting part of our year. We have semifinals in the Legacy League, and we have games 2, potentially games 3 the semifinals in our Titan League. We got some hot matchups, some real competitive games. We'll give some predictions and talk a little bit about it. And we're just very excited. The weather's looking a little iffy, but we're going to do our best to keep the fields playable as we always do. At HSL, games are always on, and we're pumped. I'm specifically excited because I could clinch a championship uh,
first.
appearance of one win on Sunday. You won 1 out of 2. We won the first game against the Robins, and it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so let's get right down to it. I'm just fixing our YouTube.
By the way, I realized we called it this episode. Did we ever upload the last podcast I did with Harry? Was that ever uploaded?
No, I gotta.
Was that counted as an episode, or did we mess up again with the episode column?
What we can name it an episode, but what number? You did a number at the beginning?
No, I didn't. All right, whatever. We'll name it later. Okay.
Okay. So
Anyways, okay. So go ahead.
let's start with Titan because I see a chat's blowing up about the Titan, some rules and regulations about the Titan League.
Yes.
Curious what's going on. I don't want to.
There's a lot of. I think it's getting fixed. I think they're
I
working
don't want to
it
name
out.
any
But
names. I don't want to name any names, but there's a whole argument going on. So tell us about it, Avi.
yeah, no, there's a lot going on. We made a rule at the beginning of the season. Before this year, before we took over, there's something called a designated fielder, in which a person could field and not hit. I didn't like that rule, but I didn't want to totally kill it. So what I did was I allowed the two slotting players to only one of them could hit, but they could both field. And you're allowed to have 2 slots. So if you bring down 2 guys for 2 slots, so you have only 2 of those guys, you could have all 4 of them fielding, but only 2 of them hitting. But then people also want to bring down a DH, someone just to hit. So someone was saying that sort of defeats the whole purpose. If you're going to allow slots to both field, how can you allow a DH also to just hit? But I think they're working it out. It's very complicated. I think it was a judgment on my part before the season started about the rule. But I don't think anybody wants to
I
hear
was
about
still
that. I don't want to
fixing the
bore anyone.
YouTube. Can you walk me through one more time that the rule was that there's a designated fielder allowed?
The rule prior to HSL was that you're allowed to have a designated fielder. I didn't like that rule. They could just bring someone down the field and not hit. Thought it was a joke. So what I did was sort of not kill it, but sort of kill it. Is allow the slot. You're allowed to have 2 slotted positions. So you're allowed to have slots 8 and 9 in the lineup, or 5 and 6 in the lineup. Should be shared by 2 people each, where one of them could hit when their time comes to the plate.
Okay.
Generally, only one of them could field. I made a rule that the slotted players could both field at the same time. So what happened was that the lineup was put out, and you had 2 positions both slotted, where together plus a DH in addition. The argument is that if you have slotted positions allowed, where both could be in the field, that DH also needs to share a spot with somebody. It can't be a random DH. It sort of defeats the whole purpose of the rule. You're sort of biting off both sides, where you're having a slot where you have 2 guys sharing one spot and fielding together, and a random guy just not fielding at all. If you're going to be consistent, you got to be consistent. Like, for example, if you bat 12 people, right? Officially, the 11 and 12 hitters aren't DHs. If they come into the field, someone else has to come out of the field. They're sharing a spot with somebody because they can't just do whatever they want. You can't field 12 guys. But I think it's being worked on. It's just very complicated. These 8 league veterans need to make sure every single
So why did you add
eye
the
is.
rule? Why did you add the rule at the beginning of the year?
I don't know. I wanted to incorporate sort of the point of the designated fielder is to incorporate more people to be able to play. I wanted to keep that, but I didn't want to make it that your guy can only field. In field, you got to hit. You're part of the game. But I said instead of a designated fielder, both guys, what a designated fielder does is have an extra guy fielding. So I sort of kept that, but kept that in a way where you also are sort of forced to hit. Not forced to hit, but you could. You're not an individual fielder. You're slotted with somebody, so it's an excuse for a designated fielder in a sense.
I see. I get it.
Could be I should have killed it totally and just done regular slotting, and I think that's what I should have done, and I'll probably do that for next year. But I can't just change that come semifinals.
Yeah. Next year we need a very thorough look at the rule book.
Well, really for the fall.
Really for the fall. We also, something I really want to. Two important things. One that I think we should add. It's going to be hard for people to do this. I absolutely think there should be an extra deposit of $250 a
For what?
refundable deposit for forfeits. I really think we should do that, and it's a deposit. It's not like you're penalized 250 if you forfeit because it's going to be impossible to collect on.
Yeah.
And or just keep a credit card or give us a credit card on file, something like that, and then it goes to the other team if they forfeit. The other thing that we need to look at, it's obviously an extremely sensitive topic, but you know, somebody loses somebody and canceling games when somebody loses
Where's
somebody.
the line? Where's the lines?
Where's the line?
Where's the
And
lines around? Where's the line?
people said it should be obvious to you, but I'm not an experienced. At this point, I am a little bit experienced in leadership. Life comes at you fast when you're helping to run a league, and there's a situation every couple of weeks. There's really a situation every couple of weeks, and how do you know where to draw the line? And people say, "Oh, use your seichel," but like, it's not so easy to
It's a lot
use your
easier said. A
seichel.
lot easier said than done. A lot
Maybe
easier
if I
said than
had
done.
made my
Especially
way all the way through Chavetz Chaim instead of dropping out 6 years early, my seichel would be
going
developed enough.
going off the Chametz time there.
Going off the there, my seichel would be better. So that's another thing. Those aren't in-game rules; those are broader rules, which I think are worthy of a big discussion. Because
Yeah.
the forfeit thing is an interesting one. It did impact some teams at the end there, and it's a good way to keep things competitive at the end, especially. We want
Yeah, and
people
on that
showing
note, by
up.
the way, I think you're right. Like, obviously there are different extreme leagues, but like, I love watching the highlights of the YMSL, especially now that like Ellie Race plays in it and Uri and a lot of other guys that we know well. I love watching those highlights. And there was one guy on one of the teams that were wearing their jersey, and every game is videoed, every game is recapped. Every time that guy was batting or running, there was something blocking his body on the video. He put like a logo on him because you're not allowed to see him because he wasn't wearing his jersey. Like we're like miles from that. Like little no, it was very cute. Like he put like a logo over him, so on the video when he's hitting, you don't see him. He said, "I can't show him. He's not wearing a jersey." They play at Arab Shuas. They play on Memorial Day. They play, and it's not even a question. Of course you play. It's a league. It's Sunday mornings. You play. You work it out. If you're going away for Shuas, you'll leave a little later. So like and this league is not just a random. This league is a league that's been around for 50 years, right? And it's like the big in the Syrian world, even the Ashkenaz world a little bit. It's like the biggest thing since sliced bread. It's like Gan Eden, literally. Similarly to the MNS. I don't know if it's as same extreme, but like there are no forfeits. It's not a thing. There are no forfeits. There are no not wearing jerseys. Like it doesn't happen. And they love it, they live for it, and I don't think it's impossible to get there. People say, "Oh, this is recreational softball." Like, I think since we started these podcasts, if you ask anybody if they enjoy the league more or not, I think they say they would.
Look,
Since we started,
I'm of the opinion, and we've really, Avi, you're obviously a big time competitor. Um, Truth is, now that I think about it, I've been on Shmuel Rada's team my entire softball career. I'm 38. I think I started playing in these leagues at about 30 after like a 15-year hiatus from sports, maybe 28. I've been with Rada. Rada's a big time competitor too. But in our podcast
yep,
last year, we talked to Paul, and we came at him a little bit with, you know, you're too competitive. You want to win too badly. He said, I don't know what you're talking about. The trophies are there. You're going to pretend you don't want the trophy. What is that attitude? I think what we're seeing in the B League, which is supposed to be a rec league, whatever the hell that means, which I think is bullshit, is that people really, 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 really care and they want that trophy. I mean, look at Brookler. I make the joke, no, I'm still not over the Hippos' loss to the Robins last year. That's such a hungry team, the Hungry Hippos, and they're right back at it. We'll get into the prediction soon, but we're coming from the perspective of where this is an intense league where everybody wants to win. It's not
yeah,
a beer league. It's not a
correct,
rec league, whatever that
yes,
term means. Whoever made up that term, it's not true. So that's the attitude
correct,
that we're trying to go with, and I
and
think we
and and
should.
and, uh, and that comes with every Sunday you play. Like you play unless you physically can't play, unless there's a of the field's ruined or it's pouring thunderstorms. The games are happening. There's no questions on Thursday. The games are on. The answer is going to be the games are on until the fields are not playable on Saturday night at 3 in the morning or Sunday morning at 6 a.m. Your assumptions are the game's on. There's no, oh, you should have killed it on Friday or Monte Shabbos so I could plan out my son. Your Sunday is planned out around softball. Sunday morning is your softball time, 8 to 12. If you get a cancellation, it's like you woke up sick one morning for school. Are you upset that you weren't able to plan out your day because you happened to wake up sick Sunday morning? That's how we have to view it, and that's how we have to run it. And I think that model has been tremendously successful, even in Muncie to some extent. They had a couple teams with issues, but for the most part, there's no forfeiting. It's not a thing. Like no one does that. It's not it's not a thing that happens. Like you don't forfeit. It doesn't happen. And deal and YMSL and MNS, these things don't happen. It's after it's not like a thing. So it's not like we're basing this off of nothing, right? We're not. It's not basing this off our own minds. These are leagues that are run really well and really large, and people love. And I think that we could. I think we started bringing that sort of culture here, and I think we could continue.
Yeah. All right. So let's get to the Brookler texted me. He respects the shout out. Yeah, Brookler's a great competitor. He built a great team. He said, he came in with big burst energy, wanting to win it all. Well, actually, let's start with the legacy. You got MS Motors, MS Motors, Mister Brookler, facing the Rides to Fly Black Sox. Um, Avi, do you have any thoughts?
Well, before we get in the game, we have to give a big shout out and Mazel Tov to Mr. Dava Gottlieb right here on his son's big haircut on
Yeah, so
Sunday.
I'm
Dava, why
missing
don't you
the
tell me
game.
about
I'm
his
missing the
haircut?
game on Sunday. My son's getting a haircut. Mazel tov to him, 3 years old. Thank you, Avi. So I do not. Rada, we have a great roster for Sunday. We have a really great roster for Sunday. Rada sent it to
By the way,
me.
you want to know how I know you have a great roster for Sunday? Because I was speaking to Raider earlier, and Raider was telling me Gershon wants to get a 10th guy, and he was
Wait, Gershon already
saying that
has
he's going
nine
to
guys?
allow. Yeah, because Yoel Spiel, whatever. There's a whole thing. There's a
Oh,
whole
I
thing.
missed this. Okay.
We don't want to create more drama, but whatever. Rado was saying that he's going to allow a 10th because he wants to be fair. Now I know why Rado is in such a good mood to allow a 10th right away. Apparently, you guys are bringing down a really good roster.
That's
Now
very
things are
funny.
clicking a little bit more.
That's very funny.
He called me up all peppy that don't worry, we're going to work it out with him. I'm sure, I don't want to play at 9. But anyway, so let's, you have the roster. Let's go through the rosters quickly. I mean, you have
Sandy
Raiders
Berger
roster.
pitching. He's probably can develop into an A-League pitcher if he really put his mind to it. Menachem Dicker at first base. Shirley Deck said, no, Ellie Deck. Sorry, Ellie Deck.
Ellie Day.
That's really on my mind from the Gridiron Gauntlet. Ozzy
Mhm.
at third base, Adelson at short, Mo Feldman in center field, Crone in short center. I don't know. Oh, you know Crone.
Yeah.
Dovey Berger in right field, Donovan Manella in left field. I mean, there are no weaknesses. There are no weaknesses in the
That's
field.
a.
People will make errors. People can make errors, but it's a very strong field. It's a very strong lineup too. You have Dovey Berger hitting. Oh no, this isn't the batting line. Oh, I don't know where Berger's hitting. This is just the fielding. But you have a very strong lineup, 1 through 10. Rada will probably be 10, and I always say you don't want to face Rada in a big spot. You don't.
No.
He has a good eye. He has a patient eye. He walks a lot and hits a lot of pesky singles. I don't know him to hit doubles, but he's not easy to defend against.
This is as high of a level legacy team you're going to have in our legacy league.
Yeah.
And the way our legacy league is built, this is as high of a legacy team you're going to get. Like you were saying, pitching and fielding win games, and you guys have a ton of that. I don't know if Gershon has his roster out. I would assume not. I don't know if he's watching. Maybe send it to you.
Yeah, he's watching.
But on the Gershon stuff, he is watching. So MS Motors are very. I love Gershon. They're very fluky. Like I've seen them tear the cover off the ball and put up tons of runs. I've also seen them have 16 errors in an inning and give up 10 runs. So like, I don't know. Like if MS Motors is on their game, if they're a really strong hitting team. They're a lot stronger hitting wise than they are fielding wise. And they lost Muscat, which is huge, but they still have the Shua Blackman, who I think won the OPS, right? So he's fantastic. They have a lot of really strong hitters. They have Sugarman on their team. I'm pretty sure was also a really strong hitter. They have a really strong lineup, and you know, I actually sense it's really going to come down to how the lineup's going to hit off your pitcher. Because you guys are going to put up runs. You guys are going to put up runs, and they're going to have to keep up with that. That's my sense of it. And I don't know if they'll be able to handle to Sendy. Like you said, Sendy's a really high level B pitcher. He even pitched A ball in the fall league, and he actually did a very good job. They didn't lose because of his pitching. He actually held teams to, 2 to 3, maybe to 4 runs a game against, what has been called the greatest softball team of all time. In that CBS team in the fall. I think it'll be somewhat close, but if I had to give a prediction, I would say Rides to Fly wins it handily, something like 8-5 or 9-5.
I
I
think
would
it's going to be
predict.
something like that. I think it's going to be something like that. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to We had the Ocean 10:30 to 12:30, and maybe it's just a fantasy. I said I got to look at my phone at 12:30, and I'm going to see that we won 9-5, something like that. Yeah, I also think.
Yeah, that's what I. And also, there's a good chance. What I'm hoping is that Calvin wins game one. We'll get to that in a second. Wins game two, and I could video their game three, and then get to the last few innings of your game as well, because they're in West Cheston and West Hempstead, so they're right near each other. So that would be great. That would work out perfectly.
Gershon said we never had 16 errors in a game. We had 8 all season, and we've only allowed more than 4 runs in one game. And he said, "Go."
Yeah, I don't know. The two games I was at, I saw a couple. Maybe don't call them errors, but I saw a couple of really brutal plays in the infield. I saw a couple of brutal plays in the outfield, but we'll see. We'll
All
see.
right, let's move on.
I don't know.
Okay, so that we're on for.
Certain teams, I get a good vibes from. Certain teams, I get nervous vibes from.
You're
I'm
getting
getting
nervous
nervous
vibes.
vibes from them.
They're a
I'm getting
little
nervous
bit.
vibes.
I told this to Brookler before some of the games. I said, you guys haven't won yet. Until you get over that hump. And that comes from a lack of experience, fundamentals. Things like that. But until you
Rain is a
win,
known
I
winner.
can't make
He
you a
knows how to
favorite.
win. He wins big games.
Who, Rada?
Raider wins big games. He's a winner, and I happen to have him. I happen to also have him at the 2 seed, so I might be a little biased at having him 2 in the power rankings. He belongs in the
All right,
championship.
let's move on.
How sweet would that be if I nail my top 2, huh?
Okay,
All right, next game.
Okay, Cobra Rentals versus the Hungry Hippos.
You could take this one first.
What?
And you go take this one first.
Yeah, no, I'm going with Cobra just because they've done it before. Um, last time they played, I think they ended up winning by 1 run. I think the Hippos came back in like the 9th, and when they
crazy
extras.
comeback. Yeah, crazy comeback.
Yeah, so
the Hippos actually held Cobra in check.
I haven't won yet. I'm the only team to beat the Cobras this year. I'm just gonna tell them I haven't won the big one yet.
So, they actually held the Cobras lineup down very well.
The Hippos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. No, I got to go with Cobra. I'm rooting for the Hippos. I know them very well. Cobra, I know much less well. I know Sach, I know Zegelbaum, and I know Jacob Gell, but
Avrami Zegelbaum, Chaim Zegelbaum, Eli Sabo, Jacob Gelb.
I forgot about Sabo. Sabo too. I guess I just chat a lot more with the Hippos. I'm friendlier with them.
Aaron Feldberg.
Oh, you're saying I know basically the whole team. Maybe I'm just
no. You do,
the real answer is I'm scared of them in the champs. I'm not
taking
Mendy Warsh for granted, but just in terms of who I want to win. So Mendy Warsh, yeah. So Mendy Cobra, Warsh. I'm predicting Cobra will win. I think it's going to be a tight game. Last time I did not think it was going to be a tight game. I think it will be a tight game this time. But again, similar score to last time. It was 5-4 last time, Avi?
I was actually going to say 5-4. Yeah. I was going to say 5-4 is my prediction actually for this game. You took that out of my mind.
Sach said we did hit the Hippos. Already texted me. We just hit it right at guys.
I think 5-4. I think 5-4. The Hippos have a knack of keeping big games close. Games against the Robins, they blew, but they kept it close.
Yeah. They've ever since their beginning of season number 7 power ranking. They failed to earn respect. I guess they're still not earning respect, but I don't think they deserve to be favored over the Cobra Rentals if they didn't beat them last time.
No, they don't. I think Cobra Rentals will pull it off. They also have the veteran, they have, like we said, Sachs on the, he also gets stuff done. He wins. He's a winner. He knows how to win.
Team. So we want a commitment from you, Sach, that...
he did? He said that?
He just says an A-level team.
No way.
Those are big words from Sach.
That is, because in the beginning of the season, he was saying there's no way they can compete in an A-League. I don't know if you're listening, Sach, but that's a long way you've come, which I'm happy about, by the way. Come to the A-League next year. We're always looking for more youth. We'll swap. We should. What we should do, by the way, if we should make it that the 1 seed. Oh, I think it's on right up. The 1 seed and the 6 seed should just swap.
Yeah, I also think this one. I want to get to one more point before we get to the next segment with the Titan. Are these are the Bombers and Gordon companies super teams? Meaning that these aren't A-level teams. These are super teams. Because Jonathan Lorenzer told me something very, very interesting about LBA. He said that he's in their A tier. They have a bunch of tiers. And he said that there's like 3 competitive teams. How could it be that in the entire Lakewood? So then you're just redefining what A is. like A means
It's
that.
Uri Adler's biggest rant. That's what happens, in the draft league. You have three teams that bulk up to beat each other. That's what happened in
Oh, that's why you
RSK
need
and the
to
tournament
draft it.
coming up.
Okay, got it.
That's what happened in the tournament coming up. But again, I love RSK, and as they know, having them on the podcast, and we push off everything for them. And it's my biggest day that I look forward to every year. There's only going to be 6 teams in Tier 1. And they barely got this. They have to combine 2 teams just to get a 6 team,
In which league?
one of which are 12 in Tier 1 in RSK,
Uh,
one of which are 12th
Ilya
graders.
Bramchik also messaged me that it's not true about the errors. He's catching up. He said.
The point is,
Well,
that
so you need to do a
when you have
draft
an
league. Okay. Uh huh.
when you have a
Gotcha.
non-draft, you have one team that comes in fully stacked, and someone else wants. There's only a certain amount of really, really amazing players, right?
Right.
It
So
doesn't mean they're automatically going to win, as we saw in the fall,
Sach says
but
A-level teams
it
are about the pitching. About the pitching. He's wrong. I know Sach's been doing this a long time, but he's wrong. He's just wrong. It's not just about the pitching. It's about the fielding. It's about the hitting. It's about the level of competitiveness. There's a lot of aspects to it.
I think it starts. I think it starts the pitching.
Sure, sure, sure.
Meaning, if you have a B, if you have a B, if you have a pitcher who walks guys in the Monday Night League, he's not like walks 7, 8 guys a game. He's not winning, no matter how good his defense and hitting are.
Yeah. All right. Let's get. Yeah. I hear you. Let's get to the Titan because I got to. Nelly Sabos texted me to do a draft league for the fall. Um,
I want to, by the way, really, really bad, but the 8 guys are never going to go for it. Maybe for the B League we do a draft league. I don't know.
well, why don't you just do an A league and have guys like Adam Bromberg and make guys like Adam Bromberg and Nelly Sabo sign up for the A league, guys who are on the bubble, and then
I would love to, but the
if
A League guys aren't going to do it.
A league guys only want to saying why is that?
They're not going to do it. I would love to. Let's make a chat. Let's get Pollen and Kaufman on the line like we always
You
do, and
need
let's
buy-in.
get it
You
done.
need
I would love
buy-in
to
from
try
the
that.
leadership. You need buy-in from the leadership.
Yes, tremendous. Tremendous buy-in.
Yeah,
Maybe making
we're
Pollen
saying
and a
do a
Kaufman.
draft for the B League fall. So how does it work when you have a B League? How do you a draft league? How do you get capped? Sock said he's never wrong. But yeah, Sock, we gotta ask Shauna about that. Um, ask Shauna if you're ever wrong. How do you do captains in a
Clip
draft
it,
league?
clip it.
Yeah, how do you do captains?
I think you draft the first 8 spots are the number one pick. The top 8 pick. Let's say you have 8 teams. The top 8 picks are the captains automatically. So and then you start from pick number 9.
Got it.
So you elect 8 captains who automatically picks 1 through 8, and then you start the draft from pick number 9. Is
Got it.
basically how you do it. You'd have to get all the signups. You'd have to cap it at a certain amount. Eventually, you can't have an awkward amount of players. You're not gonna have one team with 14 guys. You have to have signed by position, and you have to have everyone put in the positions they could play, all the positions they could play. I think it's sick. Also, it's good for content, just for
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah,
content
yeah.
like from the HSL perspective. For the guys, you could have an actual draft with an event. It's not
Yeah.
so complicated. Go to North Woodmere for 2 hours and have a draft party. It could be cool. You get smash house,
North
food, like
Woodmere
it
Park or
could be really awesome.
North Woodmere Park or North Woodmere?
Yeah, you on
I'm
a
making a
nice summer
joke. I'm
night
making a
do a
joke. It
draft.
might be canceled.
Oh,
All right, let's get to Titan
well,
because I gotta go.
now
I
that
got
I'm
to
best friends with the
Yeah. What do you say? None of your best friends.
now that I'm best friends with the woman there.
Yeah. I got to
Okay, let's get the.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Avi.
What are you so busy with on a Friday afternoon?
Menachem Dicker says no draft league for B League. It's competitive. Big League Dicker. Menachem Dicker is an amazing player, by the way. I didn't know him before this season. Really strong hitter, really excellent first baseman, and also
No,
winning
that's not the
energy.
point of it. That's not the point of it. That's not the point of the draft league. I mean, it is the point. The point is 2 things: A, to cut off the top 2, 3 teams of being way better than everyone else.
Right.
Which he is right. We didn't really have that much of it in the B League last year in the fall. But the other point of it is just really exciting and really cool, and will automatically create competitiveness for everybody, not just the top 6 out of 8 teams, the top 8 out of 8 teams.
Right.
That's the real point of it. But let's see.
Right.
I think it'll work a lot better in
Sock,
A League. I just don't. I don't see how we're
Sock
getting
also
into
part of
buy-in.
playing is having a good time with your guys. Yeah, but that's how you meet new guys. Like I know Sock now. I would have a good time with Sock if I was on his team. I don't know if he would have.
Sach will never. Sach will never. Nah, Sach will never draft you, even if he had a 13th option. Sach don't play games when it comes to building his roster.
Okay, let's get to the Titan League.
All right, so you got the roster in front of you. We had game one. Game one ended in a bit of a controversy, but from what I've been hearing, it's been a little over dramatized. Gordon Companies were trailing the whole game. They played a really, really poor game. Not poor, really poor. I was there. and they made a lot of errors. They couldn't hit for anything the first 5 innings. They were losing big, I think 6-0 maybe it was, or 7-1. And I got to my own game, and I got a text from Avi Nenner saying that the whole game ended in a debacle,
Yeah, he told me
and there was
yesterday.
cheating, and there was this, and there was that, and there was a lot going on, and there was definitely some miscommunications and some unfortunate situations. But ultimately, I don't think it affected who won the game.
Avi
Um,
Sak texted me that he wouldn't draft you either. You just said that you wouldn't draft me. That he wouldn't draft me, so he said he wouldn't draft you either. Yeah, go on,
I
Avi.
don't want
Yeah,
to pitch anyone.
yeah,
It's probably too intimidated to catch my speed, my pitch.
yeah.
Anyways, no, but Gordon Companies, whatever happened. They played a really poor game. The Bombers were in full control of game one, and all they got to do is win one game. They're out for blood, and they got embarrassed. And I don't think it's a better word to say it. They got embarrassed the last 2 years, 2 seasons, the spring and the fall.
Nah.
Spring they got embarrassed. They were the kings of the Titan League. The fall they bulked up. They got what people are calling the best softball team of all time. They lost again. Ellie Race then went on to deem himself the king of the five towns, even though now he's playing in Deal, New Jersey all the time, Sunday mornings. But the Bombers have a massive, massive, massive monkey on their shoulder that they are playing with. And as you always say, Dave, a team comes in with an edge, with more of an oomph, with more of a want to win. Um,
The Bombers might
Usually
be
that
hungrier.
helps.
The Bombers might
And
be hungrier. So one thing I'm wondering
yeah,
is, did Steve Pollen show a little weakness asking to push games 2 and 3 to June 8th? Did he show a little weakness there?
I think, and it's coming back to bite him because if we're gonna look at the rosters right now, Steve's missing a few guys, a few very key pieces. And Yossi Kaufman's loaded, absolutely loaded. We got Yossi Rosenberg, who's eligible coming down from Muncie to play. He's got everyone but Ellie Race, who no longer has anything to do with HSL Sunday mornings, apparently. Um, but now that he's becoming a YMSL legend, from what I saw in the highlights yesterday. But Yossi's coming loaded. You go through the rosters, Dave, and read it out for the people to listen to and watch and see.
Where did you send
Um,
it to me, Avi? You texted it to me?
Personal
Okay.
WhatsApp. Yeah,
Um, um, oh,
it's
yeah, I see
Kaufman's
it.
lineup. It's Pollen's roster. It's not the lineup for Pollen though.
Yeah. Gestetner, Weil as younger, Archie, Jesse Rosenberg, like Konigsberg, Avinena, Chesky Iskowitz, Yitzi Miller, Kiva Madnik. He played in our basketball league, Madnik. Yanki Iskowitz, Jesse Kaufman, yeah. Okay, let's look at Steve. Tzvi, who's Tzvi? Tzvi is Bloom? No, that's David Bloom. Who's Tzvi, second base?
Too while? No, it's
Abish at
Cal.
shortstop.
Oh,
Abish back in his
yeah.
stomping grounds at shortstop. Glenn Zuckerman at first. Pfeiffer at third base. Isn't Pfeiffer the guy who made the error last year? Or that was somebody else?
I think it was him. I don't think it was him or Gortz. One of them. I think it was Pfeiffer.
Oh, wait. Sacha's playing for them? So Sacha's not playing for Cobra on Sunday? Interesting. Seth Fishman in right
Cobra's playing
field.
at. No, isn't Cobra playing at? Oh,
It's
so
not
Sas.
because he
Oh,
might have two
okay.
games, yeah. Adam Offman in center. Jack Ralston left field. Koenig in right center.
No, if I had to guess, Sach will be playing game one for the Bombers and go to, and then they're right next. They're right next door to each other, and then go to his own team for game two.
DH is Schiff. Who the hell is Schiff? Who are these guys?
Schiff Schiff was eligible. He's young. He's younger, but yeah, he's missing a bunch of guys. When you
Oh,
messaged me,
Zviga
I'll go out.
Words.
I go
Zviga
out.
Words. Zviga Words. Okay. Yeah. Yeah,
That's why I thought it was Gortz.
they have a stronger on paper. They have a stronger
They're missing
team.
Shuey. They're missing Shuey Hoffman.
But
He's
Steve
hurt.
also said that they wanted to punt to June 8th because they would have a more competitive team on June 8th. So who is he
Is
referring
that the
to?
reason why he said that?
Oh, I lost you, Avi. Yeah, I thought he said they have some injured guys. Where'd you
Shia
go, Avi?
Bloom.
I lost you.
I was checking the roster. They're
Oh,
missing
whoops.
Shia Weiss. They're missing Bloom. They're missing Shuey Hoffman, and they're missing a couple of others. So they're missing a couple of big players. If it goes to game three, I think Kaufman has it. I think the Bombers need to step on them in game two and just take it home.
Schiff is
All the
holding
pressure
big
will be
hitter.
on the
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
All right, so
All the pressure is going to be
I don't know who
on
I'm
Gordon
predicting. I
Companies.
don't know who I'm predicting. It's like they had 3 weeks now to wake up, Gordon Company. So we're a little schluffy, and it sounds
I'll
like they
I'll
woke up
tell you
at the
this
end of game
much.
one. It sounds like they woke up at the end of game one.
Did
And by the way, you don't usually see Yossi Kaufman hawking the ins and the outs of rules the way he was this morning on that chat. He's more a live and let live guy, at least the
Well,
Yossi that I
because
know.
there was a debacle. There was a debacle at the end of the game last game where Yossi made a mistake when it came to some of the rules. A genuine, honest mistake, but he made a mistake. So he wants to make sure he has things straight for this for this game. I don't know what to predict. My prediction is the Bombers win game 2 5-3. But if
Okay.
it gets to game three, and I'm wrong about game 2, then my prediction is Gordon Companies wins in a blowout game 3. It's going to be a bloodbath, an 8-1
Well,
game.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my prediction. What do you think?
I don't know. It's interesting going into the first week of games of playoff games. I said, oh shoot, sorry. I said I'm not picking against Gordon Companies until they lose. Yeah, until they lose. I don't know what to do, but now they're down by 1. So
Missing 2 games. I got them both games.
no, they got to win both games. So meaning I would have picked Gordon Companies to win the series, but now that the Bombers are winning, 3 weeks to wake up. I got to make a prediction. What's your prediction on? Oh, you said.
I said I think the Bombers win game 2,
Yeah.
but if they lose game 2, they get blown out in game 3.
I'm gonna give it to the Bombers in 3 games. I'm gonna give it to the Bombers in 3 games. I think they're gonna come out and win
Wow.
a tight game. I think both games will be tight. I think the Bombers will ultimately prevail.
All right, last one before we head off. We got
By the
QJL,
way,
BJL
I
versus
just
the
want the Bombers
Robins.
to win because I want to have the Glenn Zuckerman trolling of Archie Eichhorn. If they win, is gonna break the internet.
They will break the internet. We'll have Glenn on Monday. If they win, we'll have Glenn on the next week, one of those days
We'll have Glenn
to
on
troll.
every day.
Just
We'll
to
have him
troll
on
and
every
stuff.
day.
All right, we got one more series left. We got QJL, BJL, which is my team, going up against the Robins in game 1. Arguably, the umpire solely cost them the game. We were up 3-1. They came 2. They were up 3-1. They came back, tied it, or 2-1. They tied it at 2. They had bases loaded, 1 out. Erickson Flores hit a bullet that I made the catch on. I threw back to first. The guy was safe by a mile. The umpire called him out. Ariel Cohn was on deck, who I actually intentionally walked Flores earlier in the game to get to Ariel Cohn, who popped out against me. So there's no saying he would have gotten a hit. However, they definitely, who knows what happens with Ariel at the plate. We ended up walking it off on a Benji Ashkenazi walk-off RBI double in the gap.
What a nice.
So it was a close game, 3-2. We got games 2 and 3 in North Windermere Park. David, why don't you go first? We have a stacked lineup. We have our best team of the year. If I tell you the lineup right now, you're going to go, we got Benji, we got Lowinger, we got Noah Aaron, we got Zinn, we got Ari Moskovic, we got Shirley Friedman, we got Rokach, we got myself, we have Joel Pfeiffer, and we have Yitzhak
How many
Hetzler.
runs did you put off of Ariel?
So off of Ariel, we won 3-2 in extras.
And that was with a much weaker lineup?
We were missing Noah Aaron for half the game. We had no Shirley Friedman. We had no Ari Moskovic.
Okay. It's another tough one. Robins are a very, very tough team. I imagine Ariel has a very good roster. Yeah, I'll give it to you guys, but I think it'll be close. 5-3, something like that in one game.
You think we win game 2 and sweep 5-3,
Yeah.
and then I'm off to do the highlights. Oh, my dream. Oh, my dream. I really hope you're right, because if not, I'm not going to get any footage of the semifinals. It's bad enough I'm not going to get any footage of the championships. I guess it's a good thing for my team, though. Get back to the championships. So according to you, we're looking at another at a rematch for the first time since those 2021 championships against 2022 against the Bombers when they back in the day when it was one game and they came back down 8-1 and 11.
At a one-game championship. I'm nervous.
I know. The morning's looking clear though.
I'm
The
really
morning's
regretting not
the
playing Memorial Day or Shavuos. We really got to rework this for next year.
we do. We do.
Alrighty, well, I
100%.
gotta run. I gotta go prepare for the Upshare. Any closing thoughts, Mr. Edelman?
I think it's gonna be a lot of fun Sunday. I think teams deserve to be here. They fought hard. I think the league overall this year, the Legacy League, was very competitive, most of it. The Titan League was also very competitive, most of it. And I think the teams that are here deserve to be here. It should be a lot of fun. It should be very competitive. Hopefully, the rain will hold off the morning time and the afternoon time for our kids' league's sake.
Kids program.
And it's only gonna get more and more in the fall, Dave.
All right, Bez.
But that'll be indoors.
All right.
That'll be indoors. So a lot less stuff. Thanks,
Shabbat
guys.
shalom, everybody.
See ya.